Hi. We're back. I always feel so funny. Don't you feel funny when we're like, hey, now we're still on the call, but hi, welcome to our call, right? You guys are cute. Thanks for laughing with me. We gotta laugh, you guys. Doesn't life just get so dang heavy? Oh my gosh, especially right now. I think it's kind of fitting that we're all looking like this right now because we're going to talk about fear. Halloween is scary and kind of cozy scary, right? But fear can really rob us of a beautiful life. Fear can also really rob us of showing up and living our dream life. How many of you know that? Do you feel that with me? Fear can be so crippling. Do you guys feel me on that? We're going to get into it, you guys. I'm so stoked to spend some time with you. And just so it's clear, we are going to go till 12:30. That's not normal for us on this call, but we are all about efficient. So if we gather for a Mombi call, we're going to do our call at the same time so we can nail it all at once. So if you need to leave early, that's totally fine, but please watch the recording. If you see part of it, please listen to the recording. This is designed to help you get some answers that you can actually implement. And everybody's going to get different answers based on what you hear from me, because you have a different experience and your intuition is going to guide you in the way that's best for you. So please don't rob yourself. Listen to the rest of this call if you have to hop off. But I felt like it was really important to give this enough time so that we can actually dig in. So you actually leave with nuggets, okay? So my friends, let's define fear. I've heard a million definitions of fear. Will you put in the chat, what's like a definition that you've heard of fear that resonates with you? Put it in the chat. And I'm going to share with you one that I actually really resonate with. And we're going to talk about that getting started. And then again, like I said, this is what I'm sharing with you is my thought seeds. These are things that worked for me. I want you to listen to which ones resonate with you, write them down, capture them, so that you can leave with your own individual nuggets, okay, that you can actually implement that will work for you. False evidence appearing real. Dude, yes, okay, something that makes you feel paralyzed. Yes. Fear to me feels like a tight chest. Like, what does it feel for you in your body? How do you feel when you experience fear? My heart, yes, I was just going to say my heart starts to race. My hands get kind of sweaty. I get a stomach ache, your heart races. Yes. I'm actually in therapy. I've been in trauma recovery therapy for 3 years, and it has been so interesting to learn about the nervous system and how it affects this and how that fear thought can cause a physical response. Do you guys find that interesting? Dude, it's endlessly interesting to me to learn about this stuff. Can't breathe, you feel shaky. My heart feels shaky. Like I feel like my insides start to like tremble. Isn't that crazy? Okay, here's a definition of fear that I find really interesting. And I just Googled it because I wanted to see like a starting place or what someone might think. Fear, an unpleasant feeling triggered by the perception of danger, real or imagined. Dude. Isn't that awesome? I'm going to say it one more. Yes, dry mouth, nausea, shaky, can't breathe, 100%. Maybe you get like the nervous tummy and you end up in the bathroom a lot. That happens sometimes, right? I'm going to say that one more time. I want you to listen for the parts of it that stand out to you. Fear, an unpleasant feeling triggered by the perception of danger, real or imagined. You guys, how many of us are standing in oncoming traffic right now? Raise your hand if you're in like a physical threat to your safety. Anyone? No one? Okay, who's experiencing fear right now in any way, shape, or form in your life? Me. Okay, so the question is the fear you're experiencing real or imagined? Just ask yourself that and write some notes about that. It's kind of interesting. Okay, we talked about how it feels in your body. One thing that I got in touch with, fear comes from an addiction to certainty. Can you guys resonate with that? There was a season when I was doing a lot of mindset work in my business, and I had hit my leadership lid. Do you know what that means, you guys? When you reach a point where you feel yourself holding yourself back, but you don't know how to get through it, you just keep bonking your head. Maybe that looks like your business slows down. Maybe that looks like you start to shut down a little bit. What does it look like for you when you feel overcome with fear? Put it in the chat. Let's identify this. And it's really about you as well, hearing yourself say these things. What does it look like for you when you feel a lot of fear? For me, I kind of shut down and I really, like what's the word? Retreat. Like I want to like hide kind of. Anybody? What does it look like for you? What's your flavor of fear? When you feel a lot of fear, what do you do? How does that look in your life? Okay, the season, when I was doing a lot of this work, I want you typing because I want you to hear yourself say these things so you can have awareness around this. Okay, yes, avoid things and responsibilities, Ruth says. I think that's pretty common. So I was in this place where I was having a leadership lid and I was hitting my head and I was holding myself back and I was self-sabotaging. I didn't mean to. Can you guys relate to that? I didn't know I was doing that, but the coaching I was doing was bringing this to my awareness. Yes, hiding. Okay, let's take this off and look at what this says underneath. Squirrel. It's too hot and I'm not a mommy anymore. We're overcoming fear. Look at this. Women can do anything. Ta-da! It's like Superman. Here's the cape, right? You guys, but I got in touch with some thoughts and some ideas that really served me and actually came up when I was preparing for this. Have you guys heard about bunker life? Have I talked to you about bunker life? Okay, basically what it is I realized that my fear came from this insatiable desire, and I would even say addiction, to feeling safe. How many of you can relate to that? I got in touch with my certainty addiction. Like, I just want to make sure that I'm safe. I just want to make sure that nothing goes wrong. I think that stems back from when I was a 9-year-old little Dolly. My best friend and big brother passed away suddenly out of nowhere. He was just gone. Like the rug just pulled right out from underneath me. So I think 9-year-old Christy, and I have compassion for her. She was like, please bless, that can't happen again. That was so scary. And that was like, broke my heart. So I started to just white knuckle this feeling of safe and this feeling of like perceived certainty. Can you relate to that? How does that show up for you? Right? So the whole thought was this addiction to feeling safe and white knuckling. Can you feel that? Go like this for a minute. You guys squeeze your hands really tight. To me, that's what it feels like when you're like in so much fear. You're like white knuckling this perceived feeling of control, but now go like this, like just let go and like let your hands go limp. Can you feel like the physical difference with that? I was white knuckling safety and certainty. Let me ask you, do you think that actually made me feel safer and things go more certain? Heck no. It made me have fingernail digs in my hands. It made my hands sore. It made my life feel miserable, and it didn't do anything for the outcome. But what I realized is it's kind of like a bunker or like a cellar. Have you guys ever seen like those storm cellars that are underground? When I lived in Kansas a long, long time ago as a little teeny Dolly, we had a storm cellar that was like a metal door that you would open, and then these nasty cement steps that stunk. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. The cellar smell, or like an old basement that's like, oh, it's like a museum mixed with like an antique store. Kimberly loves that smell. She's heck no. She won't even go into antique stores because she can't handle the smell. Are you feeling me? So it's that cellar, that old, dingy, cold, like spider webby, tickly on your face, stinky. Do you know what I mean? Is it safe down there? If a storm comes blowing through and homes are being ripped up into a hurricane and people are getting hit with all this debris, is it safe in a storm cellar? Yes or no? It's safe. Is it awesome to live in a storm cellar? No? Don't you like the smell of old spiderwebby nastiness? I realized, the point is, I realized I was legit so addicted to safety and the perceived certainty that I was living my life metaphorically in a storm cellar. Guys, can you resonate with that? Because the fear of that storm was holding me back to the point where I like wouldn't get out of it. But what if, you guys, I have this beautiful post written, but I don't want to take the time to read up. Maybe I'll share it at some point. What if it's sunshine outside? What if we're living in a bunker because it's safe and perceived? Well, yeah, if you stay in a storm cellar, chances are you're going to stay there. You'll be there. You know that, that's certain. Okay, but is that awesome? No. What if it's sunshine outside? What if it's the most beautiful weather and you're choosing to let the fear run the show and keep you in a storm cellar? It's safe and it's certain. What's your storm cellar? What right now are you bumping your head on because of fear, and you're choosing to white knuckle this perceived safety and this perceived certainty? What is it for you? I want you to write that. Something's coming up, write it. Is it fear of what other people think of you? So you're like, I'm going to stay down in the storm cellar and I'm only going to post once in a blue moon because then people can't misunderstand me, right? Or I'm just only going to talk to people about plexus here and here because if people reject me, that's going to mean I'm not a worthy person. So I'm just going to stay in this storm cellar because I'm safe and it's certain, right? Ask yourself, fear of rejection, Andrea says, of course. Because if you're rejected, Andrea, what does that mean about you? Think about it, you guys. Fear of rejection. If somebody disapproves of you, she says it makes her feel unlovable. And if you're unlovable, what's going to happen? What will happen if you are unlovable? You'll be alone. Anybody want to be alone forever? Guys, so the point is, yes, storm cellars are safe and they are certain. But is that your purpose? To be safe and certain? No chance of being hurt. Absolutely zero chance of rejection, zero chance of anything going wrong, but also zero chance of anything going right because you're safe and it's certain, right? Okay. So what about the times when fear is valid? You guys, I know every one of us have had really hard things happen. Fear isn't a fact, right? It's a feeling. It's not a fact. It's not an irrefutable fact. It is a feeling, but it's valid. Are you with me? We're going to go somewhere with this. This is going to help you get in tune with something that maybe is holding you back. So it's valid. Hard things happen. Everybody raise your hand if you've had something that you feared happen in your life. Put your legs up if you feel like you've had more than your share. You guys, yes. Every one of us have had something that we feared that was really hard actually happen. So your fear is valid. Okay. Here's the deal, you guys. I had this moment. Melissa Taylor's one of my dearest friends. Years and years ago, I was having tremendous anxiety. We're talking debilitating. I couldn't sleep. The fear was off the charts. This was actually when Kimberly was my kid's pediatrician, and plexus was not even a thing, like way long, not a thing. And I was going to see her and she was like, Christy, I'm kind of like feeling like you need some help. So she wrote me a prescription for Zoloft. She was my kid's pediatrician. She wasn't my doctor, but she was my angel, right? But you guys, that was the season I was having debilitating fear about my kids dying. Like I have a lump in my throat. I remember. Why? Because it's valid. My brother died. I saw what it did to my parents. I felt the heart wrench in my own heart. And I had these dollies. I think I had 3 beautiful dollies at this time, or maybe just 2. But I literally couldn't sleep at night. I'd go in and like put my hand on their face and be like, are they breathing? Guys, the point is your fear might be really valid. Is that valid for me to have that fear? 100,000,000%, because it came true. The 1 in a million chance of a 12-year-old boy dying from asthma, It happened to my family. So why wouldn't it happen again? Are you with me? I know people that have trauma from like car accidents or a divorce. For me, my worst nightmare came true in my family life. My family, everything, that came true. I'm a single mom. My heart has been absolutely shattered. So the fears that we have, ask yourself, is your fear valid? It's not that it's not valid, it is valid. Okay, but here's the deal. My beautiful friend Melissa, and I was sharing this with her. I remember I was living in Saratoga Springs. My backyard was like a 1/4 acre, and then behind it was cornfields for miles. And it was the middle of the fall. So these cornfields were just, the corn stalks were super high, and it was kind of waving, and we were out there talking, our kids were jumping on the tramp. And I was sharing this really vulnerable like feeling that I was having about my kids dying. And all those things you said, shaky chest, clammy hands, like all that was happening because I was so filled with fear. Okay, and it was valid. Was it valid? Totally valid. But this was what she said, and it hit me so hard. Christy, I hear you. And guess what? Yes, that did happen. And guess what? If one of your kids is supposed to die, they're going to die. But what if they're not supposed to die? They're not going to die. And for some reason, have you ever heard when the student is ready, the teacher arrives? For me, I had maybe heard that a million times before, but it hit me so hard. And I realized that I was doing this. Remember how that feels in your hands? Do it if you want to, so you can really experience, feel that, oh, I was white knuckling something like that, that I had absolutely no control over. No control. So what was it doing? Was it helping my kids to stay healthy, or just digging my hands and making my muscles sore and making me feel miserable? I remember letting go and surrendering. And I want to add here, what's the opposite of fear? What do you think it is? In the chat, I want you to tell me, what do you think the opposite of fear is? Peace. Okay. Heck yes. What can I do to create peace instead of fear? What else? Faith, calm. Yes. Faith. I love it. I heard this one time. Keep commenting so you can hear yourself say it and feel yourself type it. Confidence. I love that. You guys, to me, and I think there's a lot of definitions, but one of my favorites is love. I remember hearing this and being like, what? The opposite of, yes, surrender. Oh yeah, that was on my list. Confidence. Yes. The opposite of fear is love. What? Okay, so write this down. When that fear comes up, what deserves more love? Who deserves more love? Just ask yourself and then tune in, and you can figure out what it is. So for example, okay, we gotta mute someone here. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Ooh, I love that. Someone told me curiosity is the opposite of fear. We're going to get into that specifically with you and maybe what your fear is. So think about it. When you're feeling fear about messaging someone, maybe the fear of rejection that you talked about, the fear of posting, the fear of anything really, if you ask yourself, what deserves more love? What could I love more right now? Maybe it's yourself. What if you could affirm yourself and validate yourself? And that helps you let go of seeking validation from others. Would that help you to deal with maybe the fear of rejection? Okay, what if you love your team more? You're like, hey, here I am. I'm scared of showing up as a leader. I don't know if I can do this. What if you love your team and you say, I'm going to love them and I'm going to like point my arrows out. I'm going to love them more. Doesn't that just melt the fear away? Okay, so ask yourself when that fear comes up, what or who can I love more right now? Right? Surrender. To me also, relinquishing the illusion of control. So this, it's just like, Kate, I have fear and I'm going to relinquish the illusion that I have control. It melts away the fear. And then surrender. Also, trust. Trust in the process. Trust in your ability to be resilient. Trust in, I'm going to read this because I screenshotted it and it was so juicy. The opposite of anxiety is trust. Trust in our core strengths, trust in our resilience, trust in the process, and trust even in the discomfort of our anxious emotions to deliver important messages. And we're going to go into that more. But trust even in the discomfort of our anxious emotions to deliver important messages. Sometimes we're so resistant to the fear that we miss the message or we miss the growth. It's part of the journey, right? Have you heard like, and for sure there's a place and an energy for this, but like fear is a liar, squash the fear is bad, you know, whatever. Like, have you guys experienced that? And there is a time and a place for that. But for this moment, I want you just to pause that thought and just say, what if there was a message? What if this was something that was beneficial for my growth? What could I learn from this? Okay. And then the other question, when it comes to like a valid fear, I'm going to pause for a minute because I want you to hear this. It means a lot to me, and I think that it will mean a lot to you. What if it was all perfect? Okay, everything up to this point in your world that maybe gives you that feeling of, well, my fear is valid because this happened before. Okay, that's valid. What if it was all perfect? What if my brother passing away crushed my heart in a million pieces? But what if it was perfect? What if it was supposed to happen? What if? How does that feel? Like, check in with your heart. How does that feel when you ask yourself about your past that maybe is giving you evidence that your fear is valid? Ask yourself, like, roll your shoulders back, take a breath, breathe it all the way out, and then ask, what if it was perfect? Because if you're white knuckling the past and white knuckling the future, all it's going to do is make us all real tired, right? But if we let go and we just ask, what if it's perfect? Right? Is there anything that came to your mind when you asked yourself that? Maybe in your business, you're in a place where you're like, it's all gone. It's too late. I've missed it. I'm behind. Is that truth? What if it was perfect? Just what if? What if, bless you, everything up to this point, it was all perfect to put you right now in this moment with this choice, with this opportunity on this call? What if it's all been perfect? What if everything that's gone wrong, we perceive as wrong, has actually been perfect? Chills. My friends, the truth is, it is, because it's over. It was perfect because there's nothing we can do about it. So if it happened, it happened. And it is. It just is. It's a fact. Everything in the past is a fact. The more we white knuckle it and try to make it mean something about us, the greater the fear and the more evidence we collect to support our future fears. But if we just let go, what would happen if we just let go? Get those beautiful hands of yours. What if you just let go and did this and you surrendered? Okay, it was all perfect. I didn't love it. I still don't love some of it. But what if it was all perfect? What have I learned from all of it? What was the message there for me from all of it? How does that feel? Check in with your heart. How does that feel right now? Type in the comments, how does that feel when you just breathe into that thought of what if everything up to now is perfect? Doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean I like it. But we just accept that it's fact because it's over and it did happen, right? Calm. I love that. That's what Kimberly was saying is the opposite of fear. What if you can just take a breath when that fear comes up and get yourself in the present now? Because guess what? Fear comes from the future. And guess what? 90% of the things that we create about the future and the fear never happen. You guys, that scenario that we all have built out, I have a scenario about all the different things that are fear stories. You probably have scenarios of all the things, right? 90% of them will never happen. What? But here we are just, and not only is it stealing the future, it's stealing our what? Our now. In that moment, my friends, this is what I'm working on with my therapist, like really intentionally. Breath. It's so simple. It costs no money and it doesn't take a lot of time. Right this second, take the biggest belly breath you've taken in like a week. Ready? Do another one. Oh, feel the air in your body. Just feel it going through your body, your throat, your nose. Touch your arms. Look at them. Touch your hands. Feel it. Like this is now. Every time you can be present, moment aware, that just means breathing, being in your body while you breathe. You bring yourself back to the now, and the fear isn't in the now. What is right now, right? I did a whole call all about facts and feelings, and you can go deep into that stuff, right? So if you want to find that and listen to it, it's juicy stuff and super vulnerable for me, for sure. But I feel like it resonates when you separate facts from feelings. But the point is, when you breathe, when that fear comes up and you feel the white knuckling and your fingernails start digging in metaphorically, guys, I want you to take a breath right on your hand. If there's anything you get from this entire call, we have lots more to do, but if there's anything you get, just put breathe on your hand. And when you breathe, you feel the air in, your shoulders drop as you breathe out, and you visualize breathing in faith, breathing in love, trust, surrender, all those things that are opposite, and you breathe out the rest. Just say the rest. We don't want to judge the fear because then that's resistance. Just breathe out the rest. You breathe in the fear or the faith, the calm, the surrender, the trust, and you breathe out the rest. Even if you just do that every time the fear comes up as a practice, you are going to learn to face and overcome your fear. Okay? All right. We're going to talk for just a second about your specific fears. So right now, I want you to dump for 2 minutes. Get your pen and your paper, and I want you to dump. Do not overthink it. Just dump everything that is a fear for you right now in any area. It could be in your business. It could be in your personal life. It could be with your significant other, as a mom, in your workplace, with your body, within yourself, your relationship with yourself. What are the fears that you're coming up with? What's coming up for you? Let's unearth those, because as long as they are hidden in your subconscious and they're not in your awareness, they're going to run the show. I'm going to give you 2 minutes with some beautiful music, and I want you to just dump. And remember, don't overthink it. Just when I say fear and what's coming up for you right now, what might be holding you back, just write. Okay? 2 minutes. Keep writing. Just even if you write like you doodle until something comes up, just keep your hand moving so you can really start to unearth some of this stuff. And if you're driving or you're not able to, just kind of tune in with your heart and ask yourself, like, what's the fear that's holding me back? What's coming up? It could actually look like something you're white knuckling. What are you white knuckling right now in your life? We talked about how it feels in your body. What's causing you that tightness in your chest? What's causing you that shaky feeling? What's causing you the dry mouth, the tummy aches? Those things are all fear. They could just be disguised. What about your heart racing? What makes your heart race when you're going through your day, maybe even in your work? If you're applying this to your business, what comes up for you that causes your heart to race? Is it a message? Is it looking at your points? Is it talking to people about plexus? Is it posting? What's causing those things to come up for you? Just keep writing. Okay, 30 seconds to finish up. Okay, my friends, did you get some juicy stuff? If anybody's feeling vulnerable, share. You'll get more out of this if you're sharing and connecting and being vulnerable. So if you feel like you can share it, we would love to hear, so we can kind of be on the same page together. And that will help me kind of direct too what we talk about. But if not, that's totally great. This is for you to be in tune with what your intuition is bringing up for you. Okay, so I want you to just look at what you wrote and maybe just circle a couple of things that are like a theme, like 3 or less. Look over what you wrote. Is there something that's themed around rejection, fear of rejection? Or maybe just tune in. When you're looking at what you wrote, tune into your intuition and ask, what's this really about? What's really going on? Or what's underneath all this stuff? Like, what's driving these fears? Is it my fear of rejection? Is it my fear of success? Is it my fear of being vulnerable? Is it my fear of people making fun of me? Is it my fear of leading people? Is it belief in myself? Is it my fear of not being true to who I think I really should be? You guys, these things are real. Doing lives, posting my face, being vulnerable, rejection, failure, fear of failure. So look over your list and just circle a couple of themes. And just ask yourself, what if there was one overarching fear here, like an umbrella, what might that be? So you can have some awareness about that. And again, if you're open to share, that's helpful. If not, that's totally fine. But just kind of get in tune with like bullet points. Like if you could turn that whole thing into like 1, 2, or 3 bullet points of what the biggest fear that's holding you back is, what might that be? Okay. Now from that place, I want you to take a minute or 2 minutes and play it all the way out. Okay. So sometimes unfinished thoughts run the show. Are you with me? So it's like this fear that's not a finished thought. So then your brain is just constantly ruminating on this unfinished thought, when if you finish the thought, you're like, oh, okay, I can now see that that's actually kind of ridiculous. Now I can dismiss it. Does that make sense? Or I can learn the lesson and move on. So look at your fear, look at those 3 bullet points, and I want you to play it all the way out. For example, fear of failure. Okay, so that's the overarching, that's the umbrella. So play it all the way out. What if my worst nightmare happens with this? What if I do fail? How can I fail in this business, right? Let's apply it to business. Let's say you reach out to people, you do the work, you show up to the calls, you do the things, and you don't reach your goal when you wanted to. Is that what you would call failure? Like, define failure. If that's your fear, or if it's fear of rejection, yes, you only fail if you quit. That is the truth in this business, 100%. But if it's fear of rejection, let's say you get rejected, play it all the way out. Okay, so write down right now, okay, that fear that I have, it happened. Now what? Like, what does that look like? Somebody rejected me. What would that look like? Someone saying, I'm not interested in what you have. Like, what would that actually look like to you? Write that down. Okay, so fear of rejection. Somebody says, you know what, Tiffany, I don't want your products and I don't like what you're doing. And in fact, I don't like you. Like that sounds harsh, but like, is that what that looks like for you? First of all, how likely is that to happen? Probably like 1 in 100 trolls would be that ugly to say something like that, right? And I'm not saying that to be ugly or judgmental, but the truth is, if someone says that, it's about them, not you. That's just the facts. But what does it look like is the bottom line, okay? So somebody rejects you, then what? Play it out. What then? Are you going to hate the person? What are you going to do? Write it down. What if somebody does reject you? How are you going to engage? Write that down. How are you going to choose to treat that person? What meaning are you going to attach about yourself to their actions? Are you going to say, this doesn't work, Plexus is a scam, I'm not good at this because that one person rejected me. They said they didn't like what I have and they don't like me. So now I've been rejected, so now I'm going to quit and stop sharing Plexus. Is that what's going to happen? Okay, it sounds absurd, but it's not absurd until you play it all the way out. Give the fear the mic. From your fear story, what might happen after that? And what would that mean about you? From your fear story, right? Your fear might say, you're just not really a worthy human, you're unlovable, and you're going to end up alone. But see, that's like an iceberg. And if you don't understand what's going on underneath there, you can't see how ridiculous it is because it's just running the show subconsciously. Who can share? So anything that's coming up, if your fear actually happens, then how are you going to engage? What are you going to do about it? And then what meaning are you going to attach about yourself? Okay. If you want to share, I would love to see it. If not, we're going to move on, and that's great. Okay, so now take a look at that. I want you to look at everything that you just wrote down and just ask yourself, tune into your intuition and ask, is that true? Look at your fear stuff you've been writing. Look at the 3 bullet points. Look at the play it all the way out. Does that feel like truth? Is that aligned with my highest self? Is that true? Ask yourself. If it's true, okay, cool. If it's not true, okay, cool. It's a story is the bottom line. It's what you choose that's in alignment with your truth. And only you know that. So this is a practice. Can you see it's a practice of unearthing what's going on? Don't judge it, because if you judge it, it stays underneath the surface. And you don't ever unearth it, and you don't ever see if it's true or not. You unearth it. What's really going on? And then you play it all the way out. And then you look and ask, is that true? Is that my truth? Yes or no? If it's not, cool. What's the truth? What's the real story? So now, butterflies, we are going to ask, because this is all just like, we're just possibility time. We're just taking a look at all the possibilities. This is the question. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. What if it went amazing? We just asked, what if that thing happened? What if your fear came to reality? What if? And then we went. I want you to write that goal, that dream, that vision you have for your business, for your relationships, for your life, whatever that is for you, whatever you're focusing on. What if that came true? Just what if? Right. 2 minutes. What if that diamond you, that emerald you, that version of you that you want to step into, that you can feel in your bones, you just want it so bad, but the fear is there, but also, what if it happened? Just right. What would change? How would you feel? What might happen? It's possibility talk, you guys. Don't overthink it. It might just be a word. It might be a sentence. It might be a feeling. But give that girl the mic, that one inside of you that has the possibilities, that has faith. What if it happened? What then? How would that change your home? How would that change your life? How would you feel? What actually would change in your life? Would your home change? Would you have a different car? Would you have more time with the people you love? What experiences could you create that you're not currently experiencing? If it just went amazing, what if it just went amazing? At the end of it all, it went how you wanted it to. Just right. What about your health? If you just want so bad to embody that physical version of you that's your best self, what if it happened? Then what? Chills. What could you do? Who could you be? How would your relationships change? What clothes would you wear? What food would you eat? What would your date nights look like? What kind of sweetheart could you attract if that's your intention? Ruth. Just let your heart write. Don't overthink it. Just write, write, write. And if you don't know what to do, just keep writing the word faith. Faith. Faith, because that's what you're stepping into when you're in this place. Okay, what's the stuff you're not talking about that you actually want? Maybe something that you've dreamt of that you've never said out loud. That you're kind of embarrassed to want, or you're kind of like, ooh, that's a big dream. What if that just happened and it was amazing? Okay, 10 seconds. Just keep moving that beautiful hand. Keep pouring out your heart. Okay. So I missed a little part that I want to touch on really quick, and then I have one more exercise we're going to do to close. Okay, it's a good one. So picture, now you've got your fear story, you've let it out, you've unearthed it, you can take a look at it. How many of you are visual? Raise your hand. Dude, I cannot comprehend anything unless I see it. Like, I'm like, I hear you, but let me write it down and then I can process it, right? So now you've got these two opposing stories. They're possibilities, right? I don't believe there's right and wrong with this stuff. It's what's true for you and what you choose into. You're a co-creator with God, a co-creator with the universe. This is your choice. Are you with me? Is it bad to let your fear story run the show sometimes? Is that wrong? Is it? Heck no. Reach around and feel your butt crack. If you have a butt crack, you are a human. And if you are a human, your fear is going to run the show sometimes. Some of you are like, who is this girl and why am I here? Guys, sometimes we take ourselves too seriously. That fear stuff just means you're a human. It's okay. Isn't it so? It's kind of a cute thought to think of everybody just walking around with a butt crack. When you get serious in life, you just got to think of everybody has a butt crack. We're all just trying to figure it out. Even the people that you idolize, that you think are so amazing, they have a butt crack too. Like, everybody has one. It's okay. You're going to have a fear story that runs the show sometimes. Is that okay? Everyone nod. It's okay. The point is, which do you choose? Which do you choose? Consciously, oh, my fear's running the show. Okay, now I choose my faith story. I choose my truth. Okay? I want you to picture that fear as that 5-year-old little dolly version of you. Okay? Instead of, just for now, there's an energy of like, fear's a liar, crush the fear. I love it at times. But right now we're going to channel the energy of compassion and of allowing. Because guess what? What we resist persists. So right now we're pausing with the fear. We're facing it so that we can choose what works for us, the fear story or the faith story. It's not bad, sick, or wrong. It's not right, wrong. It's just what we choose. Picture that version of you with the fear that comes up and says, oh, rejection means that you might be alone and you might end up unlovable. That's a 5-year-old dolly version of you. Okay? In that moment, would you go, fear's a liar, stop it? to a little 5-year-old? Or would you say, honey, I hear you. I can see why you might feel that way. Guess what? That's not our truth. I hear you. Take my hand. Let's go over here. This faith story, this truth feels better. And guess what? You're okay. You're not going to die from this thought. Your brain is like, you might die from this thought. Like you might die by walking into oncoming traffic. You're not going to die from that. So you can take that Dolly, that 5-year-old fear story, Dolly. I hear you. You're okay. That's not our truth. I hear what you're saying. Let's go over here. Are you with me? Okay. Would you shame this Dolly and be like, why are you even having these fear thoughts? That's ridiculous. Like a little 5-year-old, I have a 6-year-old. Oh, so this hits close to my heart. But when he has fear, like what if he's in bed and he's like, Mom, there's monsters under there. I can hear him like scratching around. And would you be like, stop it? That's just fear. That's not true. Or would you be like, hey, come here. Let's get a flashlight. Let's look under the bed. Do you see? There's actually no monsters. You are safe. You're okay. Let's go over here to faith. Are you with me? Okay, so those flashlights, that's what we're doing right now, is just shining a flashlight so we can move into faith. Does that make sense, you guys? Are you understanding? Okay. So now with that being said, you guys, with your possibility talking, what if it went amazing? Guys, guess what? It's a choice. This is a choice. There's no shame and fear. It's natural. It's normal. It's okay. But you're a conscious co-creator with God, with the universe. He wants good things for you. The universe wants good things for you. Do you want good things for you? Do you? Ask yourself, do I want good things for me? Do I want to co-create faith stories? Which version of me do I want to step into right now? Okay, it's my belief that anything in life, relationships, business, personal health goals, family goals, anything to be successful requires courage to take daily tiny steps to feed the faith in the face of fear. It is not about, where is this? It's not about eliminating fear. That 5-year-old Dolly is going to stick with you till the day you are not here anymore on the earth. Okay? It's about tolerating it, hearing it, and choosing to grow something else. What we focus on expands. What we focus on grows. So we can focus on the fear stories. That's our choice. But is that what we really want? Is that in alignment with our truth? It's just simply, no, that's not my truth. Okay, I choose to focus on with my thoughts, my emotions, my words, everything in me. I choose to give energy to that true, faithful, aligned story that builds what I want. Are you with me? There's no shame in it. So here's a quote that I absolutely love. Your mind will always believe everything you tell it. Feed it hope. Feed it with truth, feed it with love. So what you feed grows. Your mind will always believe whatever you tell it. It's just there to make it true, right? So you get to choose which story. Now our last exercise, I want you to take inventory. Just for a minute, I want you to think about everything that you consume in your life. Social media, TikTok, dude. There's so many little short things that are like crowding out our minds and our thoughts and our hearts. What are you consuming? Okay. And ask yourself, which things feed my faith and which things feed my fear? Ask yourself, write some things down. How's your social media? Check in with your heart. When you are looking at your social media, first of all, how much time are you spending consuming that? Because it's been proven when you're over consuming social media, it feeds your fear story, period. So check in with yourself with no shame. How often are you on your phone looking at social media? Filling your mind with other people's stories. Are you with me? It's not your story. It's not your truth. Of course, it's okay to consume that. It can be really uplifting. But I want to challenge you. Who's up for a challenge? Okay, raise your hand if you're up for a challenge. Raise your hand in the comments if you're up for a challenge, because this is you putting yourself on the line by doing something right now. Raise your hand in the comments, say, I'm up for a challenge. Even say it out loud. When you hear yourself say this stuff, it builds trust with yourself. I'm up for a challenge. Who's up for a challenge? Okay. I want you to take inventory, and me too, of your social media. Dude, I love it. Tiffany's up for a challenge of your social media and anything that you are consuming, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever. And just ask yourself without shame. This is not meant to cast shame on anything. Is this feeding my fear story, or is this feeding my faith story? Okay. Now I want you to know, if you are comparing yourself, is that feeding your faith or your fear? If you're following someone who you feel icky, you either go, oh, see, I'm not good enough, or you're like, are you in my head right now? Anyone? Okay, if you're comparing yourself, it's not about them being bad, sick, or wrong. Unfollow it. Unfollow frenzy today. The only things, ooh, this gets me fired up. The only things that you get to have in your social media are things that feed your faith. Because you guys, it's a tool. It is a tool, and you get to choose how you use it. It can be super toxic. Social media can be so toxic, cause you to feel depressed, anxious, put you into fear, or it can be incredibly empowering. If you follow people that make you feel excited, they make you feel peaceful and calm, they make you believe in yourself. You guys, those things feed your faith. And guess what? You're going to experience less of if that's what you're consuming. Okay? Check yourself. Who's going to have an unfollow frenzy today? And I want you to know, it is not about, if you want to unfollow me, I don't really post that much right now. So you're safe with me. That is not going to stay that way forever. I'm in the middle of some major processing, you guys, around this stuff. I'm really excited. Stay tuned. But the bottom line is, if you need to unfollow someone that you're friends with, there is no shame in that. It's not about them. It's about the way that you are perceiving it. And maybe that's just for now. Maybe you're in a place right now where their influence is not feeding your faith. There's no judgment. There's no shame. You don't need to be ugly about it. Unfollow people, mute people. Commit to making your social media feed a place that uplifts you. I promise you, you guys, this will make a huge difference in your ability to channel your faith story and to starve your fear story. Okay? That also includes like news stuff. Ask yourself, are you over consuming the news? Because that is a surefire way to want to go lay in bed and put the blankets over your head and never come out, right? Okay, so just ask yourself. Now, the last thought, you guys, choose your what if. Every single day, I want you to commit to be intentional with the what if you're choosing. Remember, we said, what if your fear comes true? And you went off and you listed everything. That's a place you can stay. You can ruminate there. You can talk, think, feel, all the things around that. That's your choice, but that's what you're focusing on. And what are you going to grow more of? Fear. There's no shame. It's just, okay, that's what you choose. Or you can say, what if everything goes amazing? What if the end goal, what if the end result is exactly what I've dreamed of? What if? You can ruminate there. You can think, feel, talk, be, ruminate in that place. And what are you going to grow more of? Faith. You're going to grow more of your truth. You're going to grow more of alignment. And what does that feel like? To end this, type in the chat, how do you feel when you're in faith, when you are aligned, when you are empowered, when you've been feeding your faith for a good week and you're just intentionally consuming and also sharing things that are faith building, truth building? How do you feel? How does your body actually feel when you're in that place? Type it. I want to see what it feels like. That's what we're focusing on creating. Peaceful. For me, I feel purpose-driven. Joy. I love that. Joy is in the present moment, focusing on these things. Empowered. You're a creator. Yes, a conscious creator. Who wants to feel that way? Raise your hand if that's how you want to feel. For the majority of the time, you're gonna feel fear. It's okay. Remember, this is our parting thought. It is not about eliminating fear. That's not what it's about. It's about tolerating it, allowing it, hearing it, and then simply choosing to grow something else, something that's your faith, something that is your truth. I love your answers. Oh, thank you. You guys are so sweet. So who's up for a challenge? Say, I'm up for a challenge. Say it if you can. Listen, you are a conscious creator. This week, I want to challenge you to take 10 minutes. Who has 10 minutes? Just 10, not an hour, 10 minutes. Intentionally focus on your faith story, your truth story, that one that makes you feel empowered, whether that's meditation, whether that's writing, whether that's breathing, or all three is what I'd recommend. 10 minutes to just fill and feed your faith stories. How do you think you're going to feel in a week? Okay. How do you think you're going to feel on January 1st with your business goals? When you do this every day for 10 minutes, how are you going to feel on January 1st? Freaking empowered is what you're going to feel. Excited, bulletproof. The fear comes and you're like, ding, it just bounces right off your armor because you're like, I see you, I hear you. Nope, I'm good. I'm here, I'm centered. Okay, you guys, will you please, I'm serious about this. Message me next Monday. I will be in Disneyland. Ta-da! But I want my phone to blow up with you messaging me privately and saying, Christy, I did it. My 10 minutes a day, feeding my faith, I did it. And this is how I feel from that. Who's open? Are you guys going to do it? Say, I'm committed. Babes, let's freaking go. You are stronger than you think, and you deserve to feel this way. All of us do. Let's slay it this week. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let's create a beautiful week. Mwah. Bye.